Probably one of my most favorite crafts that's derived from bush materials is the Whimmy Diddle. The stick with a propeller that when you rub it, the propeller turns. If you want to gather the materials easily, you go out in the spring when the bark peels off of willow, gather large quantities and cut it. They don't have to be precise lengths. And when the willow is dry, then you'll make an excellent Whimmy Diddle out of it. First step is to cut two facets that are like leaving a top wedge. And about 2 fingers from the end, you cut notches. Now I can usually cut the notches required in a minute. So I often mass produce this part of the program because then I don't have to hand kids knives and they enjoy the principle of the thing. And if they are allowed knives, then this is a simple carving challenge. Well, it'll take an hour or two to do what takes me minutes. But at any rate, the ideal way is to have the kids do all their own work to create their own Whimmy Diddle, but they're pleased well enough to be given the pieces and assemble them and learn how to use it, which is probably more like half an hour of time rather than an hour or 2 hours if you're all making your own. So there, I call that the ratchet. And another little short stick that does the rubbing in these notches, and you can hear that cricket-like sound, and you cut a similar 2 facets that create that sharpened ridge in a round stick so that that'll engage a little better. Then you need to make a propeller. And we have a little piece of wood here that make a little slat. And I make these in large quantities, and I make them as thin as I dare to speed things up. The too thin and it might be too fragile, so I use wood that splints very effectively, very nicely, and using pruning shears I can produce these so-called, they're not really propellers, these so-called propellers, as fast as the students can break them. So we're trying to make things that are just the ideally proportioned. And there is the third component. There is the ratchet, the rubber, and now we have to have a hole in the propeller. And the hole has to have a certain looseness to it. And that's achieved by using 2 different size nails. Over time, I have my favorite nails. These smallest nails, they used to call them shingle nails. I don't know if you use them that much, but I sure drove hundreds, tens of thousands of them, helping my father shingle roofs. In the very dead center, both ways, you take the bigger nail and rotating fiercely, the 4 facets will drill through that little slat. And when you've drilled through it completely, you might even use the roughened part nail to polish the hole a little, take it out, and using the smaller nail, with the hole being short of, if the hole is so big that the nail head goes through, it's too big. And if it's a willow stick, look for the pith hole. There's a little pithy styrofoam-like center. Put it in there. And now you have the completed toy or device. When you rub it this way, the propeller turns that way. If you change your rubbing, the propeller reverses itself. That's the whole principle. And people wonder how come a kind of a cricket-like sound can cause the propeller to turn. Well, the secret is in the size of the hole. The hole, the bigger the hole, the better. And no matter how ugly the rest of your apparatus is, this hole is pretty large. And I've got a thin nail in there. And if I'm rubbing on one side, it'll kick it this way. And if I rub on the other side of the notches, it'll kick the other way, rotating it. So the secret is to hold two fingers in such a way that this finger can rub when it wants to, or the thumb can rub when it wants to. Thumb rubbing and not the forefinger. Forefinger rubbing and not the thumb. Voila, the Whimmy Diddle.